In some unfortunate breaking news, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes has suffered a major injury right before Hell in a Cell tonight. He's scheduled to face Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell in the main event of tonight's show. And while I don't think that the match is in jeopardy, certainly Cody's immediate future as a full-time competitor in WWE is. And I say that because this is according to Dave Meltzer, and other sources are working to confirm this, but Meltzer's reported that Cody has suffered a major injury, and it's likely a torn pectoral muscle, a torn pec. And for those of you who aren't aware, a torn pec does require surgery and does require some level of time off. The time can vary depending on the severity of the injury or the surgery, but it does seem like Cody Rhodes is in a lot of pain. The word is that he is still going to wrestle at tonight's main event. He is still going to wrestle Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell, which we will talk about whether or not that might be a smart idea in a second. But the fact that Cody Rhodes is injured does not, I think, bode well for I mean, look, the first thing I want to say is I hope that Cody Rhodes makes a full recovery eventually whenever he does, and I hope the injury isn't as serious as it's being reported. I genuinely don't. But from all the reports, from what Meltzer said about Cody telling people last night at a house show where the actual match that they were going to have in Champlain, Illinois was changed because of Cody's injury, that makes me worry that he is going to eventually need surgery. And it's not going to keep him out of tonight. I think Cody's going to go all in tonight. Pardon the pun. He's going to wrestle, and then we'll see what happens after that. The one thing about a torn pec is, and any injury like this where you tear a muscle, when you compete at a high level in the ring in the way that Cody is expected to do and expects himself to do, like he puts a lot of pressure on himself, the worry is that you go in there and you're having a match inside Hell in a Cell and you want to try to give people their money's worth. The worry is that you injure yourself further. You further the injury, you exacerbate the injury, you make it worse than it already is. And that's something that I hope Cody and WWE keep in mind when putting this match together, when rearranging this match if need be, because Cody's long-term health and his long-term future are way more important than any one match. Although I will say his first WWE main event in a very long time, I think ever actually, his first WWE main event like this, the first time where he's headlining a card as a major blockbuster star. You hate to see this happen. That's why I think he's going to end up wrestling. Like, that's also Cody's mentality. It's always been like that, to just go on and put on the show. But, I mean, this is terrible if we're talking about momentum, because if Cody, let's say he has to be out for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Like, even that, my biggest worry is nothing to do with actually Cody Rhodes. My biggest worry has to do with WWE's patience and lack thereof of keeping him at that same level, because there's this weird thing, and I think Cody's more immune to it than other people would. But there's this weird thing where when outsiders kind of come in and they push him, Finn Balor's probably the prime example of this, and then they have this type of major injury and they're out for a while. You see, there's a certain lack of trust for whatever reason that builds up in Vince McMahon, and they're not booked in the same way. Also, WWE writing staff and the creative is it's just how they are. They just very easily forget about things, and the worry is that Cody's not going to come back as important as he was initially, which I hope isn't the case. I hope they make him feel more important than he's being booked right now. But we'll see. It's just another wrinkle in the long-standing story that is Cody Rhodes' return to WWE. We hope the best for Cody. We hope he heals up from his injury. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the chat. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.